reflective moment here. So today is meeting 3. Okay, so we've had a meeting with the institution. So we out of respect for of the institution. So this is meeting 3. We will log all our meetings. So we've had the first one, the planning. Second one, we've brainstorm with the stewards. Today we have with the institution, with the school, and then now we're going to work our schedule. But before we do that, I got very inspired about the buzz again. So let's talk a little bit about that. How do you feel about when you met with them, and then what was the process and what's happening? I feel very ignited inside. Like I want to go down there right now and start work already. So what made it become like that? At first it's us lah, us, and then with the stewards all very excited, right? But then now we are meeting the host, So what about the host is now making us wanting to just go there and shine, right?
I think it's because of all the planning we did. And then now, I think it was because of all that we have been planning what we are going to do, that we can finally, what we put into planning into action. I think that's the reason why we are all so excited about it.
So the thinking and all that can now be action, right? We can live it. Yeah. And then what else? Allan and Hongkai?
Well, I feel very happy because a lot of people coming to visit the house. I am very happy because they want to treat me as an adult as well.
Fulfilled.
Yeah.
Because they treated you as an adult.
Yeah.
Yeah. Today
also,
is a school leadership,
they also support us.
They support us. Yeah. How do you know they support us? Like, it's just a Zoom meeting, How do you know? How do you tell?
I feel people or actually. I mean, I think they are all kind.
They're kind.
Yeah.
You think they're all kind?
Yeah.
Okay, kindness, huh? So kindness as a host, their kindness have a... What does the kindness make us? It makes us feel supported. Yeah? Their kindness make us feel supported? Is that what it is? They're kind, so you trust them because they're kind. Is that how... Hongkai?
I think for myself, it's like what you said, that they're actually taking this time out to really talk about our plans with us, to hear from us, and like the trust they showed in us, in like giving the blanket approval for all of us to go down. I like to think that I felt, how to say, the feelings I got was because I felt it felt good for them to know that they trust us, even though like we're still currently planning and they're not really concrete ideas being thrown about, but they are willing to just be there and us. So I think knowing that they trusted us, it felt good lah.
Yeah, I was very moved. And they've taken time and they listened so attentively and so respectfully. So I was very humbled by it. I grew and learned a lot today. I mean, because we've spoken about Bilberries LightHouse Keepers being host, right, in our first meeting, and now we're experiencing being hosted. It's so they basically gifted us our first lesson. Yeah. So maybe we start with the meeting was kind of supposed to be for governance, right? But then they turned up instead to, it's like instead of slapping in rules and responsibilities and da 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 like that, what they offered as a starting point of governance, interestingly, is to be our host. So let's pull that out. So if you are leading and stewarding governance, you are actually hosting. And what is it as host that they were hosting? Allan is smiling. Allan, come on, share. I also getting this piece. It's just so amazing. I never saw it coming because I really thought that it was a meeting about going through the terms and condition and every clause, you know. It's like the first time I met you all, I gave you all the spreadsheet, right? Thinking that wasn't that. After that, it moved to a different place. Today, it happened again, you know. Maybe because I'm such a ex-auditor. I just want to like go and give me your processes. I just want to audit it. Is it okay or not? Although, so but I as a community partner to a community partner, which is what essentially was today's meeting about, and discussing the terms and the rules of engagement, actually, right? If you think about it, two people, community and community, and two organizational bodies, which are separate legal entities as well. So it's very interesting. Then the living of it, the action of it, was suddenly understanding this, but the emphasis was not there. The emphasis was they were truly listening to what were our hopes and dreams, you know, and then very quickly deepening it for us, right? And also navigating what is the reality as well, while opening up the possibilities. There was at no point they were saying you cannot do this. No point, right? There was no, they said there are some restrictions that you have followed, but we didn't say you cannot do this, don't do this. There was no such language at all, you know, during the meeting. If you notice why that meeting worked, I just felt like we were completely gifted a model today of stewardship. Yeah. So let's pull out some pieces there before we go on to the schedule. Doing the schedule is what we can do. That's operational. Okay. But while we're together and brought together with the time, let's look at governance, link it to hosting for today. So some of these things, after we get insight, we write it down. And then that becomes our documentation, our pedagogical documentation of our journey, you know. So Allan, Tasha, Hongkai, we went to a meeting, supposed to talk about the agreement, then suddenly we got hosted so well.
Well, actually, I enjoyed this meeting so far, so that we can learn everything together, you know. Yeah, I like Austin.
Also, you like?
I like Austin, you know.
You like?
I like to host.
You like to host?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tell me how your way of hosting, today when you were being hosted,
well,
what were some of the things that you will pull out as a core components of a host?
Well, actually, also must be polite. I also to talk to other people as well. Tell you what, I was very event in Abilene. I could see this, so must be polite.
So polite.
Yeah. And
listening.
You get selected. I learned.
Just say hi.
Yeah, I welcome to Microsoft.
welcome, right? The whole energy of welcome, right?
Yeah.
Hosting is welcome. Come in, right? Welcome. So that's what they have for us, right? Welcome. We have our jobs, our the space has its core thing, you know, we got to protect the students, but we've got this space for you, but welcome, right? We want to hear what we want to hear what you're gonna do there. I'm interested. So listening to each other is, I'm interested in what your dreams and hopes are going to be, and what and then later I'm going to have to see you whether you act it or not, you know. You gotta walk the talk, right? So
but actually also might learn as well.
learn. You always say that, Allan. You always say that.
Exactly.
Learn from each other, huh?
Yeah, that's for the other.
Yeah. So that means like we have to have some kind of attitudinal stance already when we either hosting or being hosted. It means when you go into a space, you recognize that somebody is a host, right? And then we're being hosted, and then there is a dialogue, and then there is the difficult part of writing it down as an agreement, a legal agreement. And we don't want it to be demanding, so we have to be like really gentle with each other. We have to be like while not giving up like our own stand and identities, right? And we were very forthcoming in saying, you know, we couldn't apply for these grants, you know. So maybe, Allan, I would say even sharing, because if you can have the trust, then you can share from your heart. You can share about your struggles. You can share in your truth in some ways, right? You can share. They have their truths. We have our truth. We have their reality. We have their reality. Now, if you don't have that basic trust, no amount of legality can regulate it. You know, the relational. So governance is about setting some principles, some rules. It's not meant to be prescriptive in that way. It's meant to be the rules that you set are core principles. So when you set governance principles, it's very important. You root it down to a few only. You tell somebody 100 rules they cannot remember. You root it down to the fundamental few that can actually work in the scenario. And then what happens in a legal arrangement is you codify it, right? It's a codification, but the codification had a root principle underlying it. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So suppose you write something, a brief and a guideline about hosting and being hosted, and writing legal agreements with each other, you know. So you kind of can't go back. We have, if you want to put a checklist for training, for planning, for educating, for even if you're working with young children, and then say maybe a decade later, after 35, maybe you're not youth anymore. Then you're working with some 20 something, or you know, or the people that you're working now who they're 10 years old. Then by the time they're 20, you're 30, you're 35, you know, or you're 32. So it's really understanding context, right, and intergenerational. And so the work that you're doing becomes very significant when you understand every single thing that you do, right, is setting a precedent or it's modifying something. Because life and society is creative, okay? And the creativity and the recreation is about response. It's a feedback loop. It's about learning. So Allan, our learning is actually like this. You see my hands? It's like this. Okay?
Yeah.
You see what I'm doing? It's a
Yes.
linear timeline. It's a linear timeline. We live in a linear timeline. You know, our minds might go elsewhere, but sun rises, sunset, right? Linear timeline. So that's why the rhythm of getting yourself into a physical state, healthy, happy, good relational, your meals, you have to internalize and anchor that. If not, you won't thrive as a human body, you know, as a human being. Okay, no matter what people think they can stretch their bodies. I'm not of that philosophy. I've lived long enough to know sleep deprivation is very destructive. Okay, you cannot give up sleep for performance. You have to look after yourself, right? So some of these things that maybe we went off in a way that, and that's why I'm doing this. I'm coming in to correct it. It's a feedback loop, right? So you you have to do it like that. So now we're starting, right? July, August, September. So our pedagogy is very reflective like this. Okay? So Vashima is very, very good with this. They say, okay, you look at everything, you listen to all the different voices, free your mind, you know. Does not mean you have no mind. It means you're observing. If you're open enough and you're learning from each other. And then this gives the deep joy. And then the doing like this is your ability. Okay? And because it's a practice, it anchors. It anchors. Okay? But before that, it was the commitment. And before the commitment is the drive to understand people. Yeah. So to understand people, so that's your drive to understand people, right? So I'm still asking, there is an openness there. Because for me, it's knowing your drive and articulating it, that means to understand people. But what is it for? And then there is joy, but in life there's also sorrow. So you can't be in denial of that, you know. So I think in to bring it to a somewhat more balanced and compassionate perspective, I did some conversations. I was listening to some retail store managers this weekend. It's quite interesting. Two wonderful, beautiful ladies. I made instant friends with them. You know, I walked in with them and spoke to them about our program. You know, what moved me the most was they said, "I want to help." I said, "Even if I'm not paid, I don't know how I'm going to help, but I want to help." They said that, right? And consistently, when somebody who doesn't know you, pure stranger, just suddenly says that kind of thing to you, you know, you don't take it for granted. And it, to me, it's just the spirit of humanity, right? Of being human. That my gosh, how come they are obviously risking, right? It's COVID. They are frontliners in the store. They're so busy. Maybe the store is not even doing very well. But they were moved enough to say, I also want to help to create these opportunities for the youth stewards, for those people who otherwise might not have any opportunities. So it goes back to Hongkai, you jumping in, right? Allan and Tasha, you turning up and say, Auntie Peng Yang, you must not close it down. Essentially, that's what they did. And then they did their PowerPoint slides, and then Tasha just did and then we just did the whole open studios from our hearts, right? So Hongkai, help me again to tie these several concepts like this, like even now, if you can nail it, right? So we're doing this now, right? This is meeting number 3. I'm already reflecting on meeting number 1 and refining. Okay, because I took the data from today. Today the data is the host, the perfect host actually. You know, and I said, okay, now I'm going to reflect a little bit. Wow, I learned the lesson about governance today. I've forgotten it. I know it. It was substance over form, right? And if you've done some basic law, And the law education and training will always root it to basically the principles. So when we now later on open up, once it's settled, we can work together. We will print out the SDG impact standards for enterprises. You're going to see the UNDP work, United Nations Development Plan work, that it's rooted in human rights, you know. So while this whole issue, everybody then start talking, and then start fighting, and then I'm like, hey, what was the point about? We're not going to go that direction. We're going to go back to the core, and root it right there, and just live the simplicity of that core. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. That's what we're doing. Well, she very chiong here. She just talk and talk and talk. But actually, well, we're actually iterating to simplicity, because it's too complex now already. If you deal with the complexity, you're going to be drowned out, because there are too many scenarios. COVID is very unpredictable in some ways. It's predictable enough that you get the vaccine in, you are able to regulate the movements and safety. It's predictable enough, but it's been it has an effect that is on the demand and supply of economies and work and life and all that, so big, and so you can't foresee it. You may use AI or whatever to simulate the modeling of it and all that, but it is going to be an after effect. Then you will simulate, and then by that time something will have happened to those individuals who are impacted by it. So what we're trying to do is to not even have that, to just take small steps, but because you stay very close to the core, you're safe, but you're not in a siege mentality. Okay, to be safe and secure does not mean you shut down everything and put yourself in a siege mentality. So we're trying to find this way of practice that is resilient, okay, but resilient that doesn't turn you hard, right? You know how to protect yourself. You need to kind of, the liquid to solid, that kind of thing. You need to have both. But what is then that core? Okay, so Allan, Hongkai, and Tasha, let's have a go at this. Think of the perfect host today. He was perfect, actually, to me, because we were supposed to talk about a legal agreement, and yet the conversation went, you just give us a schedule. You look how, but there was depth. There was depth in every single step of the way. What was my question again? The core.
Yeah, the core.
So your three of you had come together with the statement, but for me the statement needs to have one more turn. What is driving the commitment to understand people? The shared hope anchors a commitment, but what is the origination of that drive?
And I think that everybody must think I also learn each other. So thank you. We need to give people understand, you know. Thematic, thematic, thematic plan. I share it.
Can you say it again, Alan? Can you either type it or say it again? I missed it. We must take. We must.
We must take. And we must plan. And we must speak each other.
Okay, you have to type it out, Alan. I missed several words there.
Take. Plan. No. Plan. And yeah, speak. To others.
How come it's not coming up?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I'm still typing.
yeah. I still have it is other.
Think.
Yeah.
We must think. We must think. Plan and speak to each other. We must think. That's why we're doing this, right? We're always, our reflection is our thinking. Our reflection is our thinking. Like we also learn. We think, plan, speak, and learn. Speak to each other and learn. The learning. Oh, I get your drives now. The desire to learn. Okay, huh? To understand people. To understand people. People as a like human species or individual people, but must love.
Yeah,
I don't know whether Hongkai is responding to Alan's statement or my question. Think, plan, and speak to each other and learn, but must love. And then you're like I don't know. Are you sure you're 22 years old, Alan?
I'm 22 years old. Yeah. I don't know.
You have the wisdom of like a sage, you know. I think I'm in your school of Alan, you know. I'm in the school of Alan. We think, plan, and speak to each other. We must learn, but must love. That was what the perfect host was carrying just now. He's a teacher. The quality he was carrying, the trust, right? He was kind. Underlying the kindness, there is love.
Yeah.
It cannot, it's not the lovey-dovey da thing that we see in the movies and all that. No, even those, but kindness is an expression of love. That's why we felt safe. That's why we felt okay. You know, and then I was kind of like, can we do this? Can we do that? We were all going like, you think we can do this? We can do that? And then they're like, yeah, we like that. And then suddenly you're like, yeah, you can also use our facilities later down the road after we've gotten through all the necessary, you know, process and all that, right? And look at the smile, right? The heart started resonating, right? So it's so what it is we must not take love for granted or kindness for granted, right? Kindness can come like this, but underlying kindness is care. If you're kind, is that means you're treasuring, you have a certain gentleness about yourself, right? It's like tender loving care. There's a tenderness that is underlying it. Means you go to the garden. Kindness movement. Okay. Alan, is this a kindness movement or is this a dance? Ding, ding, ding. Show me a kindness movement.
Yes, very kindness. Very kindness. It's very good for everyone because we all people that we must be kind. That's what I learned from my school, you know.
You have attended a very good school. Your
Yeah.
teachers are very good. They taught you the right thing, Alan. So you must go back and thank them because now you're a young adult and you're living that in society. And you see this job, right? You're already interfacing with other adults in this job, this project that we're going to do, right? And you're living directly from your teachers, so it's from teachers to teachers, right? And it's so beautiful, you know. Alan, we must know how to draw it out and talk about it and live it, right? And these are the things that are the non-financial, we must learn how to value this, right? So in the second session, in the second meeting, we were talking very much about creativity and the free mind and all that, right? And Vincent saying, you know, we value choices, right? So while there's choices, that's for opening up the independence, the thinking, the planning, and all that. But I think that there's a more rooted fundamental, which is the tenderness, you know, the gentleness that we need, because it's about relational. So if we talk about ahimsa, right, we talk about non-violence, right? So when it's a relational, so we're talking about this, right? We're going there, we're going to have work with people, meet people, learn from them. So Alan, the expression of politeness has this rooted principle that you don't hurt each other, you know. Like even if you go down to the garden, you see the leaf, you see the ant. Even while you want to clear the garden and you want to recycle the waste, you cannot say, "Oh, this is so smelly," you know, in the way that you didn't respect that. This is the mulch from the earth. The leaves are decaying and providing this cycle of life of mulching, right? Providing nutrients, nourishment. So it's that kind of deep place that will drive, like even when you're driving the understanding of people. Sure, we can learn. We can learn, and I can learn. I can be a very knowledgeable person, right? But in that journey of learning, right, were we very abrasive? Were we very, you know? So Hong Kai, in the understanding of people, can you help us just, okay, maybe Tasha, Allan, or Hong Kai also can, okay? There has to be that place where we're reminding that it's about let's keep to the gentleness. I think I am iterating from something that's happening in my work, you know, and I realized that in my eagerness to try and put forth something that I think, you know, might help the situation and all that, I was becoming too aggressive and too abrasive, and I did not give people enough time to digest, and I actually forgot that people are really trying to cope, right, in COVID. So like in Malaysia, one of my projects, I suddenly realized they haven't even been able to go out of the house, and it's been 2 months, you know, or 1 month. It's so can you imagine what that is doing to us as a human being, right? Yeah. So maybe, can you help me? I'm figuring this piece. Is it sensitivity? So we have choices. So choices is the beginning of thinking. Choices, decision making, and all that. What is the beginning of discovering love, actually?
I think I think that we have to be a bit more understanding towards others.
Understanding.
Understanding, definitely.
Yeah, Tasha, you're so consistent. Understanding, you're so consistent. So our commitment to understand people comes, it's not from a understanding as in knowledge understanding. This understanding is
I think it's about understanding how the others. I think it's about understanding what others' perspectives are. I think it's about understanding the perspective of others.
what if it's stuck, it means there's no growth. Well, it's good to understand the perspectives. What if you're in an echo chamber? What if you're saying the same thing? Or what if you have 10 different perspectives? It gets nowhere. It's that kind of stuff. Is that the outcome?
Then again, I say that it's always good to be open-minded.
Yeah, but what about the collective decision making? Maybe I'm hitting home on that, huh? Because you kind of have to walk forward. Right? Or is it a state where you're just saying, okay, we just talk about it, we'll just, but you're kind of there, and then you go on, but there is no change, no recreation in the sense. There's no creativity, actually. There's complexity, but at the root, there's no change. So the change that we're driving at is growth, right? Growth as a society, growth as a person, growth as a culture, growth as a human civilization, in fact, right? Because it's so big now. The pandemic is so big. Climate change is going to be so big, right? So if we're working this and we're giving our all on this, right? We have to be able to change. We have to be able to be nimble enough. Okay, Tasha, you say open-minded, but where is the commitment? Does hope itself, the hope itself, anchor the commitment?
Yeah, I think hope does it.
Hope, not action. I need action, you know. For me,
A bit of both will be fine. A bit of both.
cannot just action, then become a robot, right?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's nearly 1 o'clock. uh, the shared hope and action. Shall we slip that in? Huh? The shared hope and action of the ability to spread joy and care for others will anchor our commitment to understand people and their perspectives, or no need
I think include.
and their perspectives. How do I weave in the tenderness?
Because of the belief that we can all connect with each other,
The shared hope.
as in, I haven't really weaved it. Yeah, but it's,
Okay, yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
because of the belief we can all connect to each other.
So there's now we're rooting something else already because of a belief.
As in,
Our
I'm
belief,
linking it to care lah. I don't know how to bring
because
in
our
the
belief that we can
we can
connect
connect. So I
with
think
each other.
tenderness, if you want to talk about tenderness, then probably have to talk about vulnerability. I don't know how. I don't want to bring in so many things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to. Maybe what I was not looking for was not sorrow, but I think vulnerability is when you have joy and you have. I think caring for vulnerability is a. It's more than ever needed right now.
Mm.
Well, you can have joy, you're exuberant, right? Exuberating, but you have to have a different core skill of look, if you're really down, right? The last thing you want to have this energizer bunny bouncing around, sing. Isn't that the honesty of of human life? Like it's not working for you, and somebody is just bouncing, saying saying all these great stuff and it's working for them, but it's not working for you. Life is not working for you, right? And then here you are, yeah, you can get here, you can get here, here's how you can get here, you come, then you will reject it, you know. And I said that from the first day, right, from all my experiences. I said I initially couldn't understand this, and I'm doing my iteration now, right? If I'm doing this, I'm doing a reboot, you know. If I have a reboot, I have to take this lesson, right? So I don't personally know how to care for vulnerability. I care for vulnerability about, but my care of vulnerability is to become like a cheerleader, you know. But maybe sometimes people don't want that, right? Tasha's caring is she's just there. She is to understand, right? And their perspective. Allan is saying, I'm gonna listen, I'm gonna be polite. And Allan is just go, welcome, right? So he's cheerful, but he has love. He say, but must love. So Allan is just turning up. We are all eventually, I suppose, expressions of love in some ways. I mean, I don't want to tie this down in this kind of very crude manner of saying it, but for me personally, I think maybe that's what I'm seeing, like all this stuff. For me, it's an expression of life, right? So it's like it's a good thing, right? It's a good thing, right? It's a good thing that it cheers people up, it lifts them out. They can take the step again. You know, they or not necessarily always in the best spot, but I'm stuck. I can't think out of this box right now. I'm just stuck. I'm frustrated. Or even I have a lot of resources, but I'm just not innovating. I'm not creating actually, right? I might splash paint everywhere, but I don't have a goal. I don't have a purpose. I don't have a meaning, right? So it's this kind of spots that we're talking about, and this is where we are coming in, right? And then why and how and what core skills do we actually developing? That is very intangible, right? And it can only happen within a group of people. So Hong Kai, you're talking about connection, right? So the connection between a human and human, and now we're in social distancing. It's so we are in a disconnected position physically, right? And the core of a human flourishing is connection, caring connection, right? Care. Does that need to be care in the connection? If there's no connection, I think if there's a connection and if it's a not caring, it's a, but we still have to learn to deal with that, right? Not everybody will care for you either, you know.
Yeah, I think it is a process towards caring, a connection that leads to care over time.
You're developing a friendship, right? A friendship has care. So it starts with, okay, you're just a human body in front of me, you know. Then, okay, now you have a name, now you have a personality, you know, now we're working together, but I gotta see who you are first, right? I don't know you from a stranger kind of thing. But over time, as somehow they come to BB Lighthouse, the activities that we do, or the programs, or the shared hope, even the dialogues, maybe they read our stuff, whatever. Maybe they're being tortured by Auntie Peng An right now and they want to have lunch. They're all falling asleep. That connection has an experiential interaction, there becomes skills, becomes functioning in society. Go back again, functioning in society. It becomes skills, it becomes education, thinking, planning, becomes learning. It becomes what? I've also forgotten because I also not enough food. Becomes what? Connection. It's a relational. It's all relational because it's functioning in society. You feel down because you're not functioning in society. You go down. Then after that, you come out and you kind of do the skills, and you go back again. Then you before you have the skills, you gotta have the thinking. Because you have the skills before the thinking, you cannot innovate. You're stuck in just skills, right? You're just doing. You're not understanding. You don't know understand the road for you. So you go back to education. Heart of education. Learning, teacher learner, each other. Learn from each other. Education, choices. Okay, so we're gonna pull again. Huh? Before you get skills, you have education. Before you have education, somebody is nurturing you. You know? Every child that is born has somebody is born vulnerable. Okay, every child that is born vulnerable. So you go back early childhood. Okay, the education is different from a 15-year-old, different from a 10-year-old. Go back again. It's a baby. Our programs will host babies. You know, our space will host babies. You know, as much as an elderly as well. It's a full cycle, right? So imagine now a baby comes to our space. How are you going to speak to a baby? So Allan, remember we went to the hospital too, that time with balloons and everything. I don't know if you remember it. But Allan, imagine if we go to the hospitals now and welcome the babies to the world.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Can I go now?
You want to go already? You have to
I have
eat.
piano class.
Okay, you have piano class. So let's put a pause here, okay? And think about vulnerability and babies. And yeah, because it's a good thinking scenario, okay? You think through the scenario, you will know. So you think through like that, right? We want people to succeed in life, okay? To be happy, right? To be functioning, not performance star succeed kind of thing. To be fully integrated, okay? And empowered, right? Ding, 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 ding. You go back. So we're at connection, then we're at care, but think through that quality of that moment. And I'm thinking now suddenly that perhaps hosting is as tender and as fragile as that. It's Zueli told me he's worked in environmental science. I want to start connecting back to Zueli as well. That it's about the fragility of the ecosystems, you know. So Honkai, this is very important for way down in society, and we're kind of responding to the potential polarization, uh, the social media stuff, and all that, right? So if you go there, so we have to be able to have the sensitivity to understand fragility of relationals, right? And how do we, when that breaks, how do we build it back again? How do we grow that back again? How do we mend it? How do we heal it? Much of the conversation has been very engineering and technical, but maybe it needs to be more like sewing, healing, mending, you know. So some of these components, we're definitely digging into the root already, yeah. Yeah? The cycle of life, because we spoke about, and then we need to find something that's quite easy, that when you relate to wildlife and nature, you kind of relate in the same way with humans. So when we do our circular economy, the waste recycling and all that, right? We will do this as well. So we will look at the human journey. Instead of cradle to the grave, how can it be cradle to cradle? Cradle to cradle. Okay. So I think then for me, I feel it's a more complete and whole response, you know, deep preparation, and the attitude that we're bringing, right? The attitudinal readiness that we're bringing into this space. Okay. So I'm more comfortable now. So you all start thinking, and then you can write into the channel what we think. And then the meeting today was supposed to be scheduled. So I know you all have to go already. So we will just pop into the channel, our availability. Maybe Hongkai, you help coordinate this if you don't mind. You are
Okay.
able to do that. Yeah, you just get everybody's timing. I don't know
For-
what's the fastest
for-
way, like Google Sheet or something. How should we do this? Usually somebody coordinates and then just list it all down. So it's more a matter of who wants to go into the space and work and who can for July.
For the whole month of July.
Just the month of July. I think Thursdays for me are the days that I work on the youth stewards. Anyway, and I'm preparing to onboard. We are preparing to onboard the cohort 2 in August. So for me, I might go there every day, but I maybe this week for me, I am going. Wednesday I can start going. Wednesday, Thursday, I might actually host the youth stewardship from the space, this Thursday. So I'm going to go Wednesday, Thursday this week. Okay, so maybe I'll go around. It's quite a far journey, so maybe from 11 to about 4. Okay, and then for the following week, I Hari Raya 20th is a Hari Raya, but then for the rest of July, you can put me down as from 11 to 4, so from the 12th onwards.
From the 12th onward.
The 12th to the 30th.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have the flexibility to go in. Then if I don't go, then so what we'll do is we set out a schedule so that when we turn up, we just tick. And then when we don't turn up, we just cross. I'm not sure
Okay.
if you want to set it up as a Google spreadsheet where people do it themselves or how, or maybe just do it manual, like do it through the channel right now.
Oh,
So
I think a
it's like
Google spreadsheet.
so it's like we have to kind of self-track ourselves, right? And then it cannot be Hongkai there updating this schedule,
Yeah.
or maybe for the first month you might have to be, but eventually what you want to design is such that it's like we have visibility of everybody's mobility.
Okay.
Yeah, because once we settle down, we might be working on different parts, and we don't all need to be there at the same time, but we just have to have and then if anything happens or anything, right, or the school needs to know what's going on, we can pull out this very easily, so you don't have to ask, you don't have to keep timesheet and all that. Yeah.
Mm.
There is a software, a free one that I have seen before, something about time, something I can't remember. But for now, I think you set it up on the spreadsheet
Okay.
that suits us.
Okay.
So there were 7 names. So we just need people's availability or their planned schedule for on-site work. So maybe put it like that.
Okay. Just for the
on-site,
7.
just for the 7 names and for the month of August. So for
July.
July. For the month of July, Sarah never won't be coming just yet.
Sarah won't be coming.
No, yeah. So she will
Okay.
begin in August. So
So
it's
just
easier
6
for me. 6, yeah. So on the
Okay.
channel, Sarah is not there. So
Okay.
it's but Vincent and Saif are there. So maybe you might just have to prompt them. And then
Okay.
once the schedule is set up, you just send the link, and then we will go in and fill our own. But as a model data, you can use mine,
Mm.
which is Thursday and Wednesday, 14, 15, and then 19, 20, 20. So 20 is a holiday. So 14, 15, 19, 21, 22, 23, 24, 6, like that. From, okay lah, maybe put, yeah, 11 to 4 is a good window for me.
From 12 or from 14? From 14?
Today is the 12th, so on-site work, 14,
From 14.
15 for me. 16 I can't make.
Okay, 14, 15,
19,
19, all the way to 30.
except for the public holidays. So you just have to flag the public holidays as well.
Okay.
Yeah. 20th is a public holiday.
Mm.
Yep. So we kind of have we give it a name as well. Maybe call it on-site calendar or on-site mobility.
On-site calendar.
On-site work calendar.
Okay.
On-site is good enough lah. On-site means it's work lah, right? Schedule lah, because there's the school said schedule, right? On-site schedule. On-site
Okay.
schedule? Yeah, on-site schedule. On-site work schedule lah. Yeah lah. On-site work schedule.
Okay.
Okay. Perfect. So Tasha and Allan, you just fill it in. Okay, so today is Monday. Wednesday, I'm going to be at the school, so whoever wants to meet me there can meet me there.
Okay.
Between 11 to 4. So that's how I'm going to do this. Yeah, because
Okay.
I cannot like go and handle everybody's, so we're going to be very independent. So I'm going to start packing, start cleaning already. Okay, so
Okay.
that's how it's going to work.
Mm.
Yeah. Then once the next stuff comes, and then tomorrow I'll clean up. I'll do up all the legal agreements and all that, and I'll keep you all in the loop. But from there, after once you're on the ground, then it will be a different momentum and different modality already.
Mm.
Okay, of our interaction and our working together.
Okay.
So today is concludes kind of like the planning already. So we're going into what you call, we used to have a way of thinking of planning, execution, and completion. So we're going towards and then execution sounds like so I have changed it to implementation. It's such a long word,
Okay.
but essentially we're going into action already. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So and action, the way we work, the way we manage will be very different. Much less talk, much less thinking. So I think today I'm comfortable with we've closed it cradle to cradle, but we have to find our own description about it. Okay.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah.